I'm in love with the floater. Personally, I think that it's a fantastic shot. The higher the level of basketball, the better the shot is. I just think it's an amazing shot. In my own game, I really like it. I really like to use it. I like to attack. I like to get to the rim. I like to throw up floaters. And there's a lot of reasons why it's great. The first and the most obvious is it's hard for a help defender to block. So I try to always imagine that might be a JaVale McGee or a Dwight Howard or a Roy Hibbert who's going to try to throw my shot into the stands. So once I'm past my first guy, I might need something special to actually get that shot off and get it in. You know, at a lower level of basketball, there's not going to be a 7-foot shot blocker. But we always want to imagine we're playing at the highest level, and we need to be prepared for when there is a 7-foot shot blocker, and that's when the floater is going to be the most useful. It is a real quick shot that has a lot of arc. It's really high to intercept in the air, and it's really hard to intercept in the air. It's really hard to intercept as you get the shot off. So that's the initial reason why the floater is great, as it's hard for a shot blocker to block. There's a lot of other good reasons, and those have to do with the biomechanics. So let's delve into the biomechanics a bit. So the footwork for a 2-foot floater, which is what I'm taking here, and what a lot of elite guards in the NBA like to throw up, 2-foot floater. The way the footwork kind of works is it's the opposite of a jump shot and about the same as a chest pass for the footwork. So for example, if you're shooting a righty floater, you're going to have the left foot forward, and you're going to generate the power from your right hip. If you're shooting a lefty floater, you're going to have your right foot forward, and you're going to shoot it from your back left hip. As if you're throwing, like imagine you're throwing a full court heave at the rim from your chest, right? With your right hand, your left foot's going to be forward. You're going to push through your right hip, and that's kind of how a floater works. It's pretty hard to block, not only in the air, but as you get it off, for a couple reasons. The first reason being it's hard to read. The footwork's the opposite of a jump shot, so they don't expect you to get a shot off here. But also, if you think about it, even though the floater is a close-range finesse shot, it's a really powerful shot. You can, not necessarily advisable to shoot it from half court, but you could shoot it from half court. That's basically what a full court, a half court, full court heave is basically a floater. And yeah, because it's a rotational release. You're pushing through your hip. You're rotating into the shot, which creates a ton of power. So for example, imagine if you had a 10-pound basketball and you wanted to hurl it. A good way to throw it sideways, laterally, would be like a lateral sideways med ball toss. If you try to jump shoot a 10-pound weight, not going to work at all, right? You're not going to get it you're not even going to be able to release it. If you're trying to float a 10-pound med ball, you could do it. You'd have to be near the rim, but you're pushing through your back foot, right? You have a lot of power behind it. So with that said, you're not shooting from half court. You're not shooting a 10-pound med ball. You're shooting close range with a shot. So why does it matter how powerful it is? Well, the benefit is you get a lot of power quickly. So you're not necessarily getting a ton of power, but you're getting sufficient arc to get over a high shot blocker, and you're doing it very fast. There's no gather, right? If you took a long time, you could throw it from half court or full court, but very quick, you just flip it up, and it just gets off, right? So that's what I like about the floater. It's very energy conservative. It's easy on the body. You generate a lot of power from nowhere, and you get really quick shot that's you don't expect coming, and is a very high release. So those are the reasons biomechanically that I'm in love with the floater. I just think it's awesome. Aspire to play at a really high level with giant shot blockers, and this is the ideal shot for smaller guards like me and perhaps you if you're watching this. So talk a little bit about the actual workout I'm doing. I set my water bottle down at the left elbow and now the right elbow. I try to be symmetrical in everything that I do. So I'm alternating, coming around that presumably an elbow screen and throwing up a right-handed floater and then throwing up a left-handed floater. it's good to have both sides. I practice them equally, and that should allow me to have equal ability with either of them. You know, maybe it's crazy to be throwing up lefty floaters, but I'm doing it. I'm going to be doing it. And I think that more people should be, because if you can do it with the right hand, you should be able to do it with the left hand. Okay, so what you're seeing me do here is basically get by the first guy is the idea, and then seal the second guy with my butt, taking an extra dribble, and then throwing it up. So this is a contact move, where maybe you come around the elbow screen, so you seal your guy out, and then there's a big shot blocker, and you see how he's going to react. He looks like he's going to, you know, he's not going to come towards you, just throw up a floater. That's the idea with this. You're seeing me incredibly exhausted. It's hard to tell, but at this point, you know, 5 minutes of constant motion shooting floaters, I'm getting pretty tired. I'd like to get out of here, but I can only end on consecutive makes. There's a couple reasons I do that. One, I want the confidence and the muscle memory of ending on a consecutive make. But two, it's really for conditioning, because if you just quit kind of when you feel like you're done, you're not going to work when you're really, really tired. So by me saying to myself, all right, I'm going to get consecutive makes, then I'm going to get out of here, even I get progressively more tired. It gets harder and harder, and eventually I'm going to do it, because I'm going to go until I do it, and it forces me to work really hard, get really tired, and then I can go to a game where I'm not incredibly tired, and this shot becomes much, much easier. So that's the reason why I do that. And I'm still doing the kind of seal move where I come around and kind of put my butt into the guy. But I got consecutive makes, so I'm out of here. And that is it for shooting floaters into a basket. But for all of my shooting moves, yeah, I actually like to work on them in the mirror room. Isn't that crazy? Why not? So what the mirror room does for a couple things, I have this pillar to work off of, contact. I can drill the contact now. But also, it gives me a front view of my floater. It gives me a front view of everything involved in the floater. So I can see the spin of my dribble, I can see what my release looks like, and it allows me to correct really minor things fast on the fly. I don't have to upload the video and look at it. I can just do it, and it's really, really fast. So for everything that I do, I like to do it in the mirror room, because it's just a really fantastic way of working. So what I'm working on here is a hesitation dribble. It looks like maybe I'm going to put the ball back on the ground, but instead, never mind, I'm just losing the dribble here. Instead, I put it up as a floater. But that's one of the things you can do when you're coming around the corner, is kind of do like what looks like it's about to be a carry, but then you just throw it up in the air. And I think that that's a good way to get the floater off. But I'm starting to get tired here, losing the dribble and all that. But yeah, the mirror room is really fantastic. I work on all my ball handling in here. If you're familiar with my channel, you should check. And you haven't seen it, you know, or if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I love working in the mirror room. If you're not, check out my ball handling mastery series, where I do a lot of mirror room training. But it lets you look at your form without developing muscle memory of looking at your form, right? You can make your dribble moves without having to actually look down, because you can look in the mirror. So now what I'm doing is this seal move where I get by my guy, put my butt into him, and then move on and float it over the second defender. Really good to have actual physical object to go into when doing this, as otherwise you're just kind of pretending. Pretending is good, but because the imagination is strong, but as much as you can simulate it to make it real-like while getting it real life-like, while getting as many reps as possible is good. It would be good to have just a dude who would stand there and kind of push me, I guess. Or it would be better to maybe do it as screening rules. But as far as getting as many reps as possible, this is definitely the way to do it. So that's, I think, enough for the seal. Yeah, okay, continuing to do seals. Try to get as many as I can. Do it from the left hand and the right hand. Get as comfortable as I can be. And then I'm going to move on to shoulder bumps. If I got a moving defender, I can drop my shoulder into him. Here we go. And it's not going to be a foul because he's moving, and I can do that. But if he's not, if it's a stationary defender like this pillar actually is, then chance of an offensive foul. But it's always good to drill everything you do using your offhand to protect and to create space and all that. You're allowed you're allowed somewhat to use your offhand in basketball as an offensive player, and it's good to use it as a tool because if you don't have it, you're just leaving money on the table. So it's definitely good to do. And now here's the final thing that I'm doing. Okay, so if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I really care about the seams, and I felt that I was missing quite a bit more lefty floaters, and I had a lot less control of my lefty floaters. And the reason for that is when I was coming around the corner, I was losing the seams of the basketball. So what I'm doing here is practicing controlling the seams of the basketball. As far as shooting off the dribble goes, it's really only as good as our ability to control the ball on the seams and to dribble on the seams and pick up the ball on the seams. So when I felt that I was not controlling the ball on the seams, I wanted to go straight to the mirror room to work on coming around the corner. You see me working my top palm a little bit so that I can hold the ball as long as possible without being carry. So this angle lets me look right at the ball as I come around the corner without actually looking at the ball. So it's like it's muscle memory drilling of this move. So obviously there's like an insane amount of detail that I'm putting into these floaters, but I think that from details comes greatness, and as I began just putting up floaters, it led to more and more workouts to improve my ability to shoot that floater. And I want to be great at it, I want to be proficient at it, I want to be able to shoot it in the game, I want to be able to get my shot off over 7-foot shot blockers every time and have it gently fall into the rim. So there's a lot that goes into shooting floaters, a lot more than just the release. So that means I'm working on the dribbling, I'm working on everything, and I'm working on them in the mirror room. And that's kind of how my workouts are often structured. Today I was just going to be working on floaters for as long as possible, basically, because each thing cascades and benefits off the previous thing. And the more work I put in today, the better my floater will be tomorrow, and the less maintenance I will have to do for it as time continues. Alright, so now I decided I'm going to switch to the right hand. The right hand, I had not nearly as many problems controlling the seams. I thought I was pretty good at it already, but I don't necessarily want my left hand to get better than my right hand. So it makes sense for me to practice from this side as well. Maybe there's something I missed. I want to check out what I'm doing in the mirror here. So there's a couple things to practice. It's just coming around the corner and hesitating and throwing it up, coming around the corner, taking a dribble and throwing it up. You're not going to see me doing any of the seal dribbling on these. I could have. Maybe I missed it, but I felt that it wasn't particularly important. So I'm really starting to slow down, but this is quite a workout. I mean, I just keep moving. I'm doing it alone, but having a camera really helps me work as hard as I can. So that's it with the floaters for the most part. I think it's a fantastic shot. 2-foot floaters in particular, I have spent a lot of time on them. If you have any questions, let me know, but there's a lot of material on the floater in this video, and